we all taken. Every step is guided by its own rules and law. So come to Tanlo. Come to Tanlo. And family law, employment law and corporate law, commission of votes and all the other laws, professional and friendly services we give you all. For all your immigration law, family law, employment law, business and corporate law, welfare benefits, charity law, will, commission of all litigation, come to Town Law Solicitors or simply visit our website on www.townlaw.co.uk or simply call us on 024 776 32323. Town Law Solicitors, professional and friendly service.
Hello, everyone. My name is Andrew Yamayaro. I'm a solicitor at Detained Law Solicitors, based in Coventry, the United Kingdom. The past week or the past few days have been quite a busy time for us in relation to dealing with cases for people who have been detained by the Home Office. And as most of you or some of you might be aware, today was the scheduled day, or is the scheduled day for the first charter flight to leave the United Kingdom to go to Zimbabwe with Zimbabweans who have been detained by the Home Office and pending deportation. As we speak right now, the report that we have is that some people have been rounded up and have been escorted by the escorts to be taken to Stansted Airport. We understand that the airplane will be leaving from Stansted sometime this evening. We have heard that the time which the airplane, I beg your pardon, is leaving is 10 o'clock p.m. So over the past few days, myself, Detained Law Solicitors, other lawyers around the country, other legal representatives have been busy trying to assist clients that have been detained by the Home Office, or at least who are facing potential deportation or arrest by the Home Office. If you are still out there and you don't have a pending immigration case, or you have got a criminal conviction but you have not been held or detained at the moment, I strongly advise you that you take action to try to regularize your stay and to submit something meaningful to the Home Office. For those people that are inside, lawyers have been helping, and I think everyone will be grateful to organizations, human rights organizations such as Zoro, RAW, and political parties that have come up together in trying to help or assist people that have been detained or are facing deportation, and representations have been made, and the media has also been quite assisting and helping in bringing this cause to everyone. So I think because this is the first of many to come, as we are told and promised, we think that this should continue in terms of getting together and trying to assist people, and also that people should really consult their lawyers and then their representatives. It's quite a serious case as it stands at the moment. Judicial reviews have been submitted by various lawyers for injunctions and or to just have their representations are done. Bail applications have been submitted as well by various lawyers. Some have been successful, and there's various reasons why some have been successful, some have not been successful. Some have just been given a temporary reprieve at the moment. They've been taken off the plane, but still face a risk of then being deported in the next round. So they might have another opportunity to prepare their case so that they might not be taken again in the next round. We understand that it might be on some people are saying weekly basis, some people are saying on a monthly basis. I think it will be maybe on a monthly basis that the deportation of people might be done by the Home Office in accordance with their agreement with the Zimbabwean government. What I can advise people is that it is important to submit your fresh claim or your new claim or your application as soon as possible and on time, so that you do not do a last minute action which might get to court on time or might not get to court on time. And if it gets to court on time, if it's refused or dismissed by the court, you might not get sufficient time again to then go to the next round of challenging what the court might be have said in the administrative review or whatever action that you are taking. It is quite important, and I need to emphasize that because of the seriousness of some of the cases and the seriousness of the result of the Home Office to remove people from the United Kingdom, it is quite important really to submit a well-prepared application. It is important to have some expert reports as much as possible, but sometimes time might not be on your side because someone is detained. But if you are not yet detained, that you have expert reports, the first expert report that you might need is a report from a country expert, someone who knows Zimbabwe very well, someone who can make representations in their report that either you might not be safe or that the medical care they might not suit or might not be suitable for your medical illness or things like that. So a country expert is quite important depending on your circumstances. Another report that is important if you have got mental health issues or psychiatrist matters is for you to get a psychologist or a psychiatrist report so that that can be submitted to show that you are at risk if you are to be sent back to Zimbabwe. If you are a person who has got family, you've got a partner, it could be husband, it could be your husband or your wife or your children. It's very warm today in the United Kingdom, so it's quite warm. Let me just clear my forehead. If you have a family, it is important for you to get a social worker report. The social worker can interview your partner, your children, may contact the school, your contribution that you do to the family life, the things that are required, and then that report can be submitted in your bundle by your lawyer or solicitor. So it is important as much as you can. If you qualify for legal aid, these reports might be covered by legal aid. If you do not qualify for legal aid, if, for example, your case is solely on Article 8, you might then have to pay for these reports yourself. But I think the cost justifies the cause why you are getting these reports. And depending on the availability of the experts, they need to be done as soon as possible. So with the current situation of people being detained, some people, as we understand, as we have heard, I've heard a report from someone who was at the detention center. Some people have been rounded up by the escorts and they're now being taken to Stansted Airport. I think check-in is around 6:30, and then it might depart around 10 o'clock. Some have received injunction orders, and some of them have had their cases deferred by the Home Office for various reasons. Some might have been seeking Rule 35 reports, or there's some other issues that might have caused the Home Office to defer the removal today or the deportation today. It is important for people to understand that even if your crime or your sentencing or your conviction might have rehabilitated, if a deportation order is still in place, you need to make an application for the deportation order to be revoked, and also then to be granted your leave to remain. So even if your criminal conviction was done maybe 10 years ago, or 12 years ago, or 6 years ago, or recently, as long as the deportation order is there, you might be at risk of being deported from the United Kingdom. So make sure that you make an application as soon as possible for the deportation order to be revoked by the Home Office, so that you will not be deported from the United Kingdom. I do appreciate that the people that have been detained have got various degrees of cases. Some have got serious cases, some have got less serious cases, but they all have deportation orders. Some have got even minor cases, but because they've been habitual offenders, now their visas have been they've been revoked by the Home Office. We have noticed that especially the young people who came maybe as teenagers or as young 7, 8, and then they've tried to integrate into their life in the United Kingdom, and they've fallen into the wrong crowds. They've got nowhere to return to. They've got no family member. The whole rest of the family is here. They made mistakes as young people, and some of them have just rehabilitated and have brought themselves up to now a good character person, but because of the past, they still need, they are still under the radar of the Home Office. So it is important, for such people, if you have the deportation order still there, to just try to sort it out and have it revoked by the Home Office. It is also important to note that the courts are also serious when getting or considering last-minute cases. So they need to be prepared properly and maybe well in advance in time, so that the courts can consider them adequately. I've got some questions that I can see in the chat from people that are chatting with me. I can try to respond to some of the questions in there, but today I'm just targeting the issue of the deportation, today being the 21st of July 2021, the day of the scheduled first charter flight from the United Kingdom to Zimbabwe. That has not happened for a long time. In the previous government actually didn't like people being returned, but now it looks like the things have changed. And also the country guardians case, which is there, CM Zimbabwe, has been in existence since 2012 or 2013, so it's kind of old and outdated, and not so much helpful to most people who have got their cases going on, or that have had their cases decided under that case. So if you had a case that was refused or rejected by the Home Office previously, you need to make a fresh claim. And a fresh claim is based on a change of circumstances in your case. For example, if you didn't have children, you now have children who have spent 7 years in the United Kingdom or are British, or you've got a British or a partner with indefinite leave to remain. You've got you didn't have a serious medical condition, but you now have a serious medical condition, or the country guidance case have changed. In our case, it has not changed. If you speak to your lawyer, they can guide you on what is a change of circumstance. Just tell them your case and your story, and then the lawyer will be able to determine whether there's a change of circumstance, and so that another judge or adjudicator might be persuaded to make a decision in your favor. And if they are not making a decision in your favor, at least they might give you a right of appeal, so that you can then go to the first tier tribunal. Also in the news today is the case of the Judicial Review and Court Bill, which the government or the parliament is going to see soon. And in that bill, quite a few things that are happening, but pertinent to what we are discussing is that the government is looking to limit people from doing last-minute judicial reviews, which are quite helpful, as you have seen in this case, that last-minute judicial reviews might be helpful to people who have got good cases or pending cases or a chance or a prospect of success if they are not removed or deported from the United Kingdom. So it looks like the government wants to remove that. The government wants to clip the powers of the judiciary, the judges, in the Judicial Review and Court Bill. It's something that you might read. I've put a post on my Facebook page and my Facebook profile, which you can read in detail from The Guardian, the BBC, and the Law Gazette. So I'm just checking on the comments by people. What is your suggestion regarding attending signing appointments? Are there risks in being detained, and what are the risks? Well, I cannot advise you not to go and sign. It's a choice that you need to make yourself, whether you want to go to sign or not. But if you don't sign, then you are now committing an immigration offense, because you are supposed to sign. And if it's part of your bail conditions, then you are now going against your bail conditions, and that might make the Home Office want to detain you because you are now breaching your own bail conditions. So again, it's for you to assess and maybe to speak with your lawyer what is the best option for yourself. The risk is that if you attend to the Home Office to sign, you might be detained. Some people were detained when they went to sign. Some people were detained whilst they were at their houses or homes, relaxed. So anyway, now the Home Office is trying to detain with an intention to deport Zimbabweans. So the risk is that you might be detained if you go to report. Someone is saying that it's too late if leaving tonight. Yeah, I can say for the people that will be on the flight today, unfortunately, it's too late. And some people have done their representations. Some people are not going to be deported because they've the Home Offices changed their position. For now, they've deferred the removal directions. With some, the court has intervened through injunctions that have been obtained for them. And for some, they still have pending further submissions. So for those ones with pending further submissions, still in detention, but they have not been taken on the flight. If it's a monthly event, then most likely the next thing will be applying for bail. One can argue that removal is not imminent if someone is going to wait for 30 days to be removed, whilst they've been maybe in detention for another, say, 2 weeks from when they might have been detained. So that is the current situation. But what is important as well, this is not a one-off, according to the information that we have heard. Now, this is a wake-up call to people who are in the situation of not having leave to remain in the United Kingdom, or have got criminal convictions, and they should prepare their cases, especially if they are not yet detained adequately with their representatives, get the expert reports that I've mentioned, submit very good and strong further submissions. The importance of submitting very good further submissions is that once the Home Office refuses, they might certify your case as clearly unfounded or whatever. But if the submissions are very good and you are seeking the intervention of the upper tribunal in a judicial review, the judge might be persuaded otherwise because your case has been prepared properly and all the evidence is in there, and you might get a decision that is quite favorable to yourself. So that is the situation with people that have been removed now. Or are going to be removed now. I'm just checking some messages on a group that I am on for people that are facing deportation today. And I'm just getting an update from someone who is heavily involved in fighting for the rights of the Zimbabweans. He says a High Court hearing at 6 p.m. by Duncan Lewis. If successful, flight is stopped. So there is a case that is going on at the moment, according to this feed that I've received on a group on which I'm a member. So hopefully that case, which from my understanding, is a case that is challenging the charter flight itself. It's not limited to individual cases, as from my understanding. So if the charter flight itself is say the court says it's unlawful, then I don't think it will take off. But if the court says it's successful, it's lawful, then it might take off. So I'll keep you updated on the TAN law page and on my personal profile. You can like the TAN law page. I'll be putting in updates there. And also at our firm, we have had a few clients that were in detention, and we have represented some of them. The majority, I would say, have had at least successful cases one way or the other, and unfortunately, one or two didn't do so, but the majority have been successful. A big, massive thank you to Tanlo and the solicitors that have been handling these cases. And as we speak, some of the cases are actually going to court or are being prepared for further submissions. So it's still action time until they've left the country. Someone is asking how many are going today. I believe that it was intended that about 100 or 150 were intended to go today. But however, some people have had successful cases in the sense that the injunctions have been issued by the upper tribunal, or the Home Office has deferred their removal directions, or any other reasons. So at the moment, we do not know an exact figure that is maybe known to the Home Office itself, but it's not what the initial number that they intended to do that. Again, unconfirmed information has come out that maybe there could have been some COVID outbreaks, or some have refused to take COVID vaccination. But I think the British government is saying that there is an arrangement if for people who face COVID. They are saying that people are being offered COVID vaccinations in the United Kingdom, or have been asked to take COVID vaccinations in the United Kingdom. And if they have not taken them, then they will be quarantined at ZIPAM. Everyone will be quarantined at a place called ZIPAM, ZIPAM. And maybe those ones who have not received the vaccination might get it in Zimbabwe, or if they are clear after the required period, then they might be released from quarantine. So I think COVID has also been an issue that has been raised by some practitioners, that Zimbabwe is listed as red, is on the red list, or the red zone countries, but at the same time, the Home Office is sending Zimbabweans to Zimbabwe. I think the official Foreign Office advice is against such travel, but the Home Office is not following that. So that is the current position as it stands. Yeah, I mean, I partially agree with the person who's saying that asylum seekers are not wanted anymore, not only from Zimbabwe, but maybe from war, or the countries. I've just cited to you the Judicial Review and Court Bill, which is now going to limit the judicial reviews that someone can make as a last minute basis. There is again the nationality bill that was tabled by the Home Office, I think on the 6th of July, where you must have heard of the proposals of the Secretary of State that there might be places that are specifically built for asylum seekers, either in the United Kingdom or offshore. That if you came illegally, maybe crossing the channel, you might get short-term leave to remain, or the asylum process has been streamlined. Fast track is coming back again, although they're not calling it fast track. And they're saying they're targeting people traffickers, but ultimately it is people who are fleeing from persecution that will face major problems when this is implemented. All this is going to show that the hostile environment is continuing, and hopefully, as you would know as well, the United Kingdom is out of EU after Brexit, so the United Kingdom is doing whatever it wants or on its own. Cases used to go to the European Court of Justice and all, but now it's no longer going there because you're out. And although we still have our own justice system that is in place. So yes, it's a tough situation. It's a tough environment, but you can't give up because it's a tough environment. You have to continue fighting, and who knows what happens. Someone is asking us, some people going tonight, if the court case that we've just heard about, which is being done, I think maybe as we speak, is not successful, then they might leave the country. If it's successful, then they might not leave the country. But for some of them, we have been left at the detention centers because their cases have been successful one way or the other. But for those ones who have been taken to check in at Stansted Airport, unless if something else happens, then unfortunately they will be leaving today. And as to whether any plans have been made in the receiving country, Zimbabwe, it's something that we are yet to learn and to know. But we know that at the moment, upon arrival, they will be taken to a quarantine center in Zipam, where they will be quarantined for God knows how many days there. And some of the clients and people that we were speaking were just saying, we don't know what will be happening there. Are we going to be questioned by the authorities? Are we going to be treated well? What happens? And so forth. So that's some of the concerns that people have. Okay, so yes, I'm having a chat confirming that there is a court that is being held by one of the law firms that I've worked for before, called Duncan Lewis. So we are waiting for that case to see what happens from there. I will update you on this case on my Facebook profile, or if you like, the Tanlo Solicitors Facebook page. I will put whatever the court says after we get a response. I'm on some groups on WhatsApp and Telegraph that is giving updates. And like I said, we are also grateful to activists that have been working around the clock to bring media attention to these cases, and going to MPs, and also going to do peaceful demonstrations around the country at various places, and putting posts. And I think there has been, I don't know if someone has got this link about a survey, or people are signing a petition. If someone has got a link for the petition, someone can put it in the post, and people can put their signatures to the petition. This is something that is going on, so please, you can sign if you want to, if you are in this, you want to help people in this predicament. Yes, I agree with people that are saying that prayers are needed, and this is a time that people can do prayers for this. And someone is saying that they've already completed 10 days of isolation. So I'm not so sure what the Zimbabwean authorities will do, whether they will accept that isolation or they would want something different. Yeah, people were detained at Heathrow, or I think some were also at Gatwick. I'm not so sure, but the ones which I know were at Heathrow, and people had anticipated that maybe they are going to be removed from Heathrow, but they've now been taken to Stansted, so that's where they've been taken for checking in and unfortunately being deported, unless if the case that is pending is decided in the favor of the claimants or applicants. And or someone is also giving an encouragement that if you have been deported, maybe it's the time, maybe you might have to think of rebuilding yourself back home. Some have been successful cases of rebuilding themselves, some have not been. But I think, personally, I think someone needs to make a decision to decide that they want to leave the country, and they plan accordingly, and then they can leave having made a plan of whatever they want to do in the country where they're going to, if they're going to get a house, start a business, go to work, have savings, and so forth, rather than being forced to say after about 18 years in the United Kingdom or 19 years. Some people were close to 20 years, and upon 20 years, they could potentially have applied, or maybe slightly over 20 years, because the period spent in prison does not count towards the 20 years. So if people were, some people had nearly 20 years in the United Kingdom, and some people have also left, some people have also left the, I got distracted on this one. Some people are now leaving their families. They are now leaving their wives, their husbands, their children, and so forth. But it is not their intention, because family life, family life it's a human rights. People should stay with their family, and removing someone is a breach, in my view, of human rights. But obviously, there's the proportionality test. It has to be proportion. It is tested against the public interest. If public interest was in favor of you being removed, then unfortunately you will be removed. Someone is saying you leave your number but you don't answer calls. It depends on the time that you are calling. If I'm receiving calls now, I cannot answer calls at the moment. And sometimes if I'm busy, I might not be able to answer calls, but we do return calls all the time. And it's always best maybe to call on the office number, because during office time, we have got so many people in the office. I'm going to put the office number now, where you can speak to any one of our lawyers in the office. Instead of just calling on the mobile phone. Okay, do we have a class action, or is it each man for himself? I think it started as each man for himself, people just fighting their own cases. And then the lawyers started getting up together. There's been communication amongst the lawyers. I've communicated with colleagues from other firms, and we have collaborated on some of the cases from the lawyers from other firms as well. And the case that is going on at the moment, the one for Duncan Lewis, I think is the one which is, if I put it closely, is a class action, because it's challenging the charter flight itself. As I understand it, it's challenging the charter flight itself. So that could be a class action if someone wants to put it that way. But even if people are going to do a class action, it is important for you to have your own strong personal circumstances, because when push comes to shove, when it's your case, then you need to satisfy the court that The office number is operational from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. At the moment, there will be no one in the office. So if anyone is calling, you will not be answered because it's after hours. So call later. So what I was saying is that you need to have your own strong case, produce expert advice, expert reports from psychiatrists, psychologists, country experts, social workers, medical experts. Your consultant can write a letter and so forth, so that your case is strong. What if you were doing voluntary work and things like that, you can still submit all that information. Okay. So, yeah, that is our presentation for today. Unless if anyone else has got any other questions, I can respond to those questions. But you can contact me on email, which is on the screen or on the mobile phone, or using the office number. We have been pretty busy with some of these cases, and I know also my colleagues have been. So if we don't have capacity to deal with the cases, I can always send post you to people whom I've got confidence can deal with your cases professionally as well, because it's quite a lot of cases. My advice to everyone who doesn't have leave to remain in the United Kingdom is that please take action, because round 2 is coming and you need to be prepared by the time the second round comes in, because the Home Office seems to be resolute and serious about this. Someone is asking, is it people that have committed offenses? To my understanding, it is people that have committed some offenses, various offenses, various degrees, various sentences or convictions. If there are some who are not, maybe it might be immigration offenders, people who have not been complying with immigration requirements. But whatever it is important just someone not to be removed unwillingly, and unless if they've just made a decision for themselves. The questions, I think I've responded to most of the questions, and if you've got anything that you would want to be handled, you can contact me or go on our Facebook page, Tan Law Solicitors, or you can email or send me a WhatsApp or call me. We normally, during business hours, we have been busy, even going into the nights the past week, because we've been preparing a lot of High Court cases and a lot of upper tribunal cases, injunctions, fresh claims, and so forth. So once I get a response from the case that is pending now, the group action, if I can put it that way, I'll post it on our group. I'm sure it will be maybe not more than 2 hours from now. Thank you so much, and join me again next week. God bless.